Good morning, students. As of now, we have learned some casting process. That is, in the previous session, we have discussed about molding machines. So here in molding machines, what is the need of molding machines? We have discussed in the previous session. That is, the molding machines could be differentiated with the hand molding techniques. So if you want to have a good quality of mold, then we have to have different machines, molding machines such as jolt machines, squeeze machines and sand slinger machines. So here say for example in jolt machine, jolt in the sense that you can push something. So it has got the structure of a piston and cylinder that is equipped with a two-way control valve. Through that a compressed air is passed and that is going to elevate the mold box to a certain level, then due to the virtue of their gravity, and that is going to fall down. So this up and down moment leads to a jolt action. So in turn you can expect a good compact process of ramming process you can expect with the molding machines. Okay, then the next concept is squeezing machine. Here the working principle and elements of that particular machine remain same, whereas you can have a board and that is going to squeeze the mold and its ingredients, I mean the sand and its ingredients to the required quality, so that you can expect good quality of mold. Then the next one is slant slinger machines. So in slant slinger machine, if you want to fill a big casting or big molding boxes, then you can prefer a sand slinger machine. So the working principle is simple. The intention is to throw some product with a higher velocity. That is the concept of slinging. So here we are sending or throwing some sand and its ingredients with a higher velocity, so that it can fill the mold box and that could produce the good quality of mold. And for that particular cavity you can pour the molten metal. Then after solidification you can take out the product, that is called cast. So that this is what the concept we have discussed in the previous session. Today you will be learning the concept of core and its definition, need and classification of cores, then methods of making cores, then concept of gating. So let us have the look of core and its definition. So you are all familiar with the pattern. Pattern is the positive replica of the product to be developed or product to be produced, whereas core is the negative replica of the product to be produced. That is the main difference between pattern and core. Once again I will repeat, the pattern is the positive replica of the product to be manufactured, whereas the core is the negative replica of the product to be manufactured. So what is the need of this core then? So if you want to manufacture a product with a halo shape, then you are not supposed to have a machining process to get a particular halo cavity. Say for example, we consider engine block or a 4-cylinder car engine. So here the engine block has got the shape like this. So we want to have 4 cylinders in a huge block. Then if I consider machining process, then it demands cutting tools, machine tools. Okay, then it demands a precision in metal cutting process and ultimately leads to the increase in the money or increase in the economy. So in order to reduce that consequences, you can have the core, okay, so that you can easily produce the halo shape or intricate shapes with this one. So let us see what actually the need and how actually it is being used in the molding process. So here you are all familiar with the molding technique. So this is cope and this is drag and this is pouring cup and this is sprue and this is all runners and riser, this is a mold cavity. Okay, so if you would have not considered the core, then this process would result in a solid block of cast. Okay, if I want to have a halo shape in the existing solid cast, then we need to have a core. As I said earlier, the function of the core is to provide a halo shape inside the solid casting. Okay, so here we have inserted the core here. Okay, then this core is surrounded with the hot molten metal. okay, then that would result in the shape like this. This is the front sectional view and this is a 3-dimensional view. So here by providing the core, you can expect a hole in this particular structure, otherwise that would result in only the solid casting. Okay, that is the beauty of the core. Okay, then the next one is, as I said earlier, this is the examples of having cores in manufacturing of engine blocks and motor casings and pump housing. And if you consider the pump housing, in the pump housing, the volume is as good as this classroom. Then if you want to make a hole, that is a very tedious task and it is almost impossible also. So once you manufacture housing, then if you want to make a hole or if you want to make a hollow cavity, that is very impossible and it is difficult task also. That's why you need to incorporate, you can have a core to that particular solid structure, so that that could provide the pump with a appropriate hollow space. Okay, that is the concept of coring. Then core. Then the next one is how do we classify this core methods of core, that is the condition of, based on the condition of core, based on binder being used, and then based on hardening process used, then shape and position that is considered in core. So here in condition of core, we have two different types, that is green sand core and dry sand core. So whereas in binder used, we are considering some solid silicate core, and if you consider the binder as the resin as the binder, then we can call this as resin bonded core. Then if you consider some vegetable oils or some sort of oil, then we can consider that as oil bonded core. The next one is hardening process used. So here in the carbon dioxide molding techniques, we have considered and we have discussed the concepts of carbon dioxide molding, where the chemical reaction that is taking place, that leads to the formation of gel. So that is, gel is going to bind the particles associated with that mold box. Okay, the similar process is applied here, but the thing is, we are manufacturing a core instead of a mold cavity. So similarly, the fluid being fluid is to bind the particle, then that leads to the concept of hardening process, then the shape and position of the core, that is, so how this core is placed inside the mold cavity, that plays the game here. So here if we have got different methods, that is the shape and position, that is horizontal core. If you place the core in the horizontal direction, we can call that as horizontal core. If you place the same core in the vertical direction, we can call this as vertical core. Then if you want to have a middle in between the cope and drag boxes, then we can call that as balanced core. Then hanging core is, that is, you simply suspend the core so that you can get the desired structure. This is how we can classify the cores. The next one is methods of making cores. So here, how can we manufacture this particular core, this core being used in the mold cavity to get the hollow shape of the final product. So here, how can I manufacture a core? So here it has got a core box, it has got the shape of or the negative replica of the product to be manufactured. So here you can fill this particular box or this space with the sand mix, the ingredients such as base sand, binders, additives. That ingredients are being mixed to incorporate the properties that is required to get the good mold cavity. So this mix sand mix comprises of base sand, additives and binders. So you mix it properly and you can put it to this particular box. Okay, then you ram it. Okay, then you can supply the appropriate amount of heat by using oven and all. Then you cure this to overcome the moisture associated with the process. Then you can remove this particular core box, then that would result in core. Okay, that the same core is incorporated into the mold cavity. That core is surrounded with the hot molten metal. Then that leads to the formation of a hollow cavity in the existing cast. That is what the concept of methods of making cores. Okay. Then in order to manufacture this particular core, what are all the properties sand should possess? Okay, as it is encountered with the temperature and pressures associated with the process. So the first property of a coarse sand is it should possess higher green strength. So what is meant by green strength? Green in the sense that is the content or the moisture content associated with the system. So here that green strength will provide or that can resist the pressure associated in that particular system. The pressure is developed in the process, and that can be resisted through the green sand property. Similarly, the next property is dry sand property. So here in the dry sand there is no question of moisture content, so that can provide the property such as that can resist the erosion that is being taken place when the liquid metal is flows. So once you provide the strength, dry strength to the mold cavity or the core, then that can resist the erosion that will happen during the process. Similarly, it should possess higher collapsibility. So collapsibility in the sense that is once the process or the solidification is done, so the boxes and the mold content could be easily breakable. Core material should possess higher permeability and flowability as well. So permeability in the sense that is the ability of a sand to let the hot gases go out of the system in case of core. Similarly, it should possess higher flowability. So flowability is the ability of the sand to flow each and every corner or nook and corner of the particular cavity when the ramming process taking place. These are all the desirable properties that for the core sands. Okay. The next topic is gating system. So the gating system it comprises of it starts from pouring cup, then sprue, then runners, these are all ingates, then risers. These elements constitute a gating system. Okay. So here how will I know the so the requirement for the first requirement of the gating system is it should avoid the turbulence. Okay. The function of the gating system is to convey the molten metal right from the pouring cup to the mold cavity and at the end at the riser. This is what the flow taking place. So in that particular process, with that we should avoid the turbulence process. How will I know the flow, whether the metal flow is turbulent or a laminar in nature? So for that you can have a Reynolds number parameter. So the Reynolds number parameter associated with the velocity and the diameter of the channel, this is the density of the material being used, then this is the kinematic viscosity of the fluid or the material. So if this particular Reynolds number cross the or exceeds the 2000 number, then that particular flow is considered to be a turbulent, or if that Reynolds number falls within the 2000 number, then you can consider that metal flow is laminar. So laminar flow is desirable for gating system. We should design the gate in a such a way that it should avoid the turbulence. Once the turbulence is more, then obviously the final product has got number of defects or flaws. Okay. So that is the first preliminary requirement. Then the next requirement, it should regulate the rate of flow of metal into the cavity. That is the second requirement of gating system. Okay. Then it should not, I mean whenever you pour the hot molten liquid into the gating system, it should not erode the cavity or the channels or the elements associated with the gating system. This is all the third requirement of gating system. Then next, what are all the types of gating systems then? So we have got three different types, that is top gate, bottom gate and parting line gates. So in the top gate, this is the pictorial representation of top gate. Here this particular gate is directly exposed to the atmosphere, and that is called top gating system. This is the cavity and this is the sprue and this is the pouring cup. So here the next one is bottom gate gating system, where you are feeding the molten metal from the bottom. For the higher density materials, this bottom gate system is recommended, as the higher density material may erode the mold cavity, then in turn that leads to a distortion in the shape, then in turn that leads to the lose in the required dimension. For the higher density materials, the bottom gating system is recommended. The next one is parting line. So, parting line in the sense that is the gating system that is situated in the junction between the cope and drag boxes, okay. That is the concept of parting line gating system, okay. Then, so as I said earlier, the gating system comprises of the pouring cup, then sprue, then runner, in gates, this and risers. So, let us take up the first segment of the gating system, that is pouring cup. So, pouring cup is capable of receiving the hot molten metal, hot liquid. So, here it should be made out of ceramic material, and it should have a anti-swirl bar. Swirling could be eliminated, or the intensity of the rilling process would be reduced with the help of these projections, okay. So that you can have a laminar flow instead of turbulence, okay. That is the first requirement. The second one is sprue. The cross section we must consider for this sprue is rectangular or square cross section, okay. This circular cross section of sprue is not recommended to have the optimum cast process. So, the next requirement of sprue is the sprue should be tapered, okay. That is the second requirement. Then to achieve the continuity in the flow, we must inculcate or incorporate the continuity equation to ensure the homogeneity of the metal flow. So, here as the statement of the continuity equation is the mass flow rate is constant at any given cross section. That is the statement of continuity equation. Though mathematically you can represent, or the mathematical model of this particular system considering the continuity equation, that is the mass flow rate is represented by m, that is the density of the material with the cross section 1 with the velocity, and the density of the material with the cross section 2 with the appropriate velocity. Similarly, the density of the material with the cross section 3 with the appropriate velocity. So, finally, the density of the material remains same, but the cross section varies. This is a cross section 1, cross section 2 and cross section 3 for the sprue. So, here the irrespective of the material and its density, only the changing parameters are the cross section and the velocity. So, you take any point at point 1, point 2 or point 3, the mass flow rate is remains same. So, that ensures the homogeneity among the metal flow, or the continuity among the metal flow in case of sprue. Next requirement in the sprue design is we must reduce the aspiration in sprue. So, what is the concept of aspiration here? So, let us take the example. This is the one, the liquid metal is allowed to free fall, then it takes a shape like this, okay. If the sprue is designed in this particular way without providing taper, again this pattern is fit here, then that leads to there is a gap between this shape and the mold wall. So, in that particular gap the air may get into the casting process, then that leads to the production of some, or the which leads to the defects of a cast process. That is why we must provide at least 5-degree taper, so that can compensate, or that can take the shape of the free fall of the liquid process. That is the concept of aspiration in sprue. So, if you do not provide a taper to the sprue, then definitely that leads to the air is getting into the system, then that leads to the formation of defects. So, in order to eliminate the defects or to reduce the defect, you provide the 5-degree or less than 5-degree to the tape for the sprue. Tapering should be provided. That is the concept of aspirations in sprue. The next requirement is provide fillets. So, if you do not provide the fillets to the gating system, that leads to erosion of the material. So, the erosion leads to distortion in the shape of the cast process. Then the next one is it also reduces the turbulence in that particular flow. Then the next parameter we need to one has to monitor is the pouring time and pouring height. So by having the appropriate mathematical model, one can come out with the optimized pouring time as well as the pouring height to get the desired casting process. The next concept is riser. This is the last element in the gating system, that is riser. The function of the riser is to provide the liquid metal when the volumetric change taking place in the solidification process. So very beginning we people have discussed about the shrinkage alloyances. So it has got three different segments, that is liquid shrinkage, solid shrinkage, and the last was shrinkage. So in that particular shrinkage process, so whenever the volumetric change taking place, then it has to supply the molten metal in order to compensate the difference associated with the final part. So the function of the riser is to provide the bank of molten metal. Then the next one is functions. What are all the functions of the riser? The first function is it should permit the carry the gases, it should permit easy escape of air and gases. Then the second function is it has to minimize the wastage of metal that is being used in the riser. Then the last function is the solidification time of riser should be greater than the solidification time of the casting. So the solidification time of the riser should be greater than the solidification time of the casting. So this is all the requirement of the reservoir. Then riser. Then the next segment is the different types of riser, that is open riser and blind risers. So here the picture depicts the concept of open riser. Here the riser come in contact with the atmosphere. So that's why this particular riser is called open riser. Whereas in the blind riser, so here no question of pencil core. So here you have got sprue. Again, this is the riser and this is the cast to be produced. So if you don't provide pencil core, then that leads to shrinkage in the material. So if you provide the pencil core in this particular riser, then you can eliminate this shrinkage. That is, this is how one can have the riser. So that particular concept is called blind riser.